Hello, wonderful people. It is Mark here from Not Defining. I hope you're doing so well. I'm a bisexual man, and today I wanted to share a bit about my first gay sex experience. Now, I say gay sex. What I actually mean is sex with a guy. The reason that I'm talking about this is because it's something that feels quite difficult to talk about, and I know that for a lot of you, maybe you're questioning your sexuality, maybe you are gay or bi or queer. It can come with a lot of stigma, and so Not Defining is all about breaking that stigma. We want to talk about those things that's difficult to talk about. So this is the story about my first gay sex experience. So I was about, oh my gosh, I think I was about 15 or something like that. I wasn't out, but we were at this party, right? And I can't even exactly remember what the party was, but there was like a building where there was a party, and then there was like a big field outside. So it was late at night, it was dark, and we'd been kind of like walking around, we'd been chatting to people, we'd been all the rest of it. And at one point in the evening, one of my friends said to me, "Oh, there's gay Sam here, by the way." Okay, now Sam is not his real name, but that's, to protect his identity. But this whole concept of gay Sam was here. So this was the person who was out as gay. This was the person who was, to be fair, brave enough at that age and in that era to be out. So, big respect to him. And I'd actually never met him before. I think I'd seen him a couple of times before, but someone pointed him out to me, and I was like, oh, he's really, really hot. Like, he's really, really cute. And so the first thing I got was this big, big panic. Of course, you get a panic when you're that age and you know that you have attractions to the same gender, and you come across someone not only who is attractive, but who is actually same gender attracted as well. I'd never really been in that situation before. So I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And that was fine. But then the night kind of went on, and I found myself kind of sitting on the field, and it was very dark, kind of with a group of people, and this gay Sam came over and was talking, and I realized, oh, it's a really nice guy. He's really, really nice. And to my kind of horror, but kind of excitement, he was kind of gelling with me, kind of like vibing with me, kind of looking at me and smiling, and we had this connection. And anyone who's been in that situation before will know that what is happening is a wonderful, wonderful queer connection, those kind of connections that we have just when we meet other queer people, our community, we connect, of course we do, we share a lot. But at that point, it was spiked with this fear, this absolute terror. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so worried and anxious about what might happen in this situation. Do you know what I mean? By the way, if anybody is going through anything like this, if anybody is questioning their sexuality or has anxiety related with their sexuality or their gender, you can come and get one-on-one coaching from me. The links are down below. You can also join our Patreon site, patreon.com/notdefining, where you can meet other queer people, other bi people, and we can have group chats, and we have a whole load of content on there. And if you'd like extra videos from me, then click the join button, because there's loads of extra content there. But anyway, back to the story. You're not alone, okay? So we have a community, we have people there who I didn't have, to be honest, when I was in that situation. But I was terrified, right? So there was this terrifying kind of situation. We were all sitting there. And then to my horror, the other people in the group kind of got up at one point and just like went off. I think they'd gone to see someone or something. And there I was, left alone with this guy. And that was absolutely terrifying. But again, balancing out the terror was this immense excitement, like, oh my gosh. And it was dark. And really, we were very, very far from everybody else. We were quite secluded. And as if by magic, we didn't even have to say anything, but he just kind of drew closer to me and I drew closer to him. And at that moment, I cannot explain to you all the things that were going through my mind. I just kind of flowed with it, you know, I just went with the feeling, and he put his hand on my leg and I was like, ooh. You know, and immediately I was physically excited, you know. He was a really, really good looking guy, and he was giving me all this attention, and I just felt really excited, and I felt his excitement as well. So we got closer, and that kind of few seconds of, is it going to happen, is it not, kind of came together. And we didn't kiss, but he actually just kind of like drew close and kind of like put his hand like on me, and I kind of put my hand like around him. So it was really odd. I think we didn't know quite what to do. I think queer people, like, especially at that time, like, you don't really know what to do, even if it was a girl. Like, you know, you're kind of awkward, you don't really know how sex goes, right? So I'm gonna like put my arm around here. I was like, okay, what's going on? And then we just kind of like, kind of feeling each other, you know, over our clothes and things. And it was really, really weird. It was almost like we're feeling what it feels like for the first time, you know? It was almost like an exploration, and it just carried on. And then at one point, he put his hand, you know, down there on me, and I was like over my trousers, and I was like, okay. And then I did the same to him, and we kind of experienced that moment, and it was so naughty, it was so bad, it was so wrong, do you know what I mean? It just felt so illegal, like it just felt so naughty. But then he very slowly just started undoing my trousers, my pants for the Americans, and it was like time stopped, you know, like time stopped. It was just so overwhelming. And he put his hand down there, and so I was very excited. And from there, something just happened, which is that everything just happened in a flash, and we ended up with our kind of trousers down. And at this point, I got really, really scared. Because of course, if you're sitting there just kind of like, you know, touching and whatever, if someone comes over, you can just kind of pull away and it's fine. Whereas the minute that we kind of took our jeans down, that was like, oh my gosh, if someone comes over, like, we are caught. And I cannot understate the importance of that moment, because right now I can think, oh, haha, you know, it's just a teenage fumble. But at that point, it was my whole life. It wasn't okay to be gay. It wasn't okay to be queer. Like, it wasn't okay, you know. And so he got on his kind of knees, and we had oral sex. So he gave me oral sex, and it was unbelievable. It was absolutely unbelievable, because I'd never actually done that with anybody, you know. I had never had that experience, and it was absolutely amazing. It was like ecstasy. It was like nothing else. It was so much pleasure and so much fear as well, all in one. The adrenaline was just like everywhere, but it was overwhelming. And then he kind of turned around, and I don't know how I knew what to do. I don't know how I kind of thought it through, but I kind of came behind him, and I pressed myself, against his behind, and at that point I really, really didn't know what to do. Anyone who has had that kind of sex will know that even at the best of times, it's not that easy, right? It takes a bit of preparation, and if you're not used to it, or if it's your first time, it's very, very unlikely that you're going to be able to actually have that sex. Like you're very unlikely to be able to actually have anal sex. But of course we didn't know that, and so I kind of tried, and the kind of thing, but it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen at all. And so I didn't really know what to do. Was I doing it wrong? Like, what was going on? But it didn't happen. And I remember being really disappointed. And I think that he was really disappointed as well, because we had all this energy. But then we heard somebody coming, and oh my gosh, I jumped out of my skin. We quickly, as a flash, pulled away from each other, pulled up our G's, and just tried to remain normal in some way. Oh my gosh, I have never in my life been trying to keep a straight face and probably doing such a bad job. And our friends just came over and were like, hey, you like coming in, what are you guys doing over here? And I was just like, I don't even know. And after that, it was actually really horrible, because people were like, oh, what were you doing? Why were you guys out there for so long? Like, what were you doing with Gay Sam? Like, what were you and Gay Sam making out? And of course I didn't admit it. But I was terrified. I was terrified of what people would think. And I was also terrified that he would tell people. So, and we didn't really have we kind of had mobile phones, but I had no way of contacting him. And I also really wanted to see him and kind of chat with him and, continue that connection, but I didn't really have the opportunity, and because it was all secret. So, and I never saw him again. I never saw that guy again. So, if if you're out there watching this, Sam is not your real name, but that was an amazing experience, and I hope that you're doing well in life and things. But that was it. So not the best experience overall, but it was amazing. And so I thank you for listening. It's the first time I've ever talked about it. As I say, if you would like support, then please check the links below. There's so much support there if you're struggling with this, if you're trying to work it out. And if you would like to hear more about my kind of thoughts around my own sex and sexuality and my different attractions, then check out this video. Please subscribe, because we've got so much more content coming out, and I will speak to you again very, very soon. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.